Ladies and gentlemen, this is the YouTube channel vlog show of inspiration and realness. Also, this is the YouTube channel vlog show of positivity, personality, and fun. This is Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977, and now the perpetrator of these shenanigans, Big Beefy E himself from his Big Beefy Man Cave in New Bedford, Massachusetts, Mr. Shenanigans himself, and the two-time Chilling 3000 2022 End of the Year Awards winner, Eric M. Lima. Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977, episode 320, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, boys and girls. It is episode 320, and we're going to talk about what's happened on NXT. Just got over about 10 minutes ago. And over the weekend, Grayson Waller's been causing a lot of shenanigans. Speaking of shenanigans, Grayson Waller's been causing a lot of shenanigans, and he's trying to get inside Bron Breaker's head. It seems like what he's doing exactly that. He knows that Bron Breaker is a bit of a hothead sometimes, so Grayson Waller decided, well, I'm going to take advantage of the situation, mate, and oh boy. So he went over to the PC. All right, he had Malik Blade hold his phone to tape the brawl. Several NXT superstars and trainees, training students were there, including Alexis Leet, who was talking, and then, oh, whoa, what's going on? Grayson Waller starts tossing water bottles at Bron Breakker. Breakker gets upset. Those two went at it. Everybody had to separate these two. Then Big Joseph and Booker T says, oh, this is a good way to kick off NXT. And and Indy Hartwell interrupts both Big Joseph and Booker T says, I'm gonna whoop Tiffany Stratton's ass. That's what Indy Hartwell was saying. And Booker T goes, I like it, let's go. You know, Big Joe was like, oh, okay. So the two, Indy Hartwell and Tiffany Stratton did go at it. It was a heck of a matchup, but in the end, Tiffany Stratton did win, and did win with a pretty good moonsault. So I gotta give that up to Tiffany Stratton, and give her a lot of credit for that. But in the end, I know Indy Hartwell is probably not going to give up with that fight. Mackenzie Mitchell had interviewed J.C. Jane, who decided to have some scathing remarks about Gigi Dolan. I was like, sometimes, I'm like, well, I love Gigi Dolan, but I'm not buying this, It's like in the back of my mind I'm going, I know what they're trying to do. That's why I'm not buying the whole thing. But it could be very interesting. It is a triple threat match, and every woman for themselves. And will Toxic Attraction end up being another Lay Cool? Oh, excuse me. We'll find out when we get to it. Meanwhile, Thea Hale gets ready for her award ceremony after her first victory last week on NXT. Drew Gulak decided to train, and along with Miles Bourne and I think Bryson Montana, decided to go and to train with the Creed brothers. And when Julius Creed did a takeover on Gulak got a little upset, started pushing and shoving. Hank Walker was there too, and he said, "Calm down," and everything else, and said, "This is not over." So Chase U decided to do an award ceremony and do cousins with them in the ring, and so and so they're presenting Thea Hale with a certificate. J.D. McDonald comes out, trashes the whole ceremony verbally, gets Thea Hale a little upset, and then there was a one-on-one. Andre Chase, after Andre Chase beat up J.D. McDonough, Andre Chase went one-on-one with J.D. McDonough. He didn't. Excuse me just a second, okay? Duke Hudson, though, walked out during the matchup, but it cost Andre Chase the victory because of miscommunication. And then Briggs and Jensen were talking to Fallon Henley, and then they were talking to Kiana James after Kiana James was talking to Gia. and then he said, let's talk. And then Fallon Henley goes, let's talk some strategy. She said, I'll start Or so say, we'll see what happens, and if you want to start the matchup, you just start the matchup first. So, anyways, so there's that. And then Fallon Henley went one-on-one with Fallon Henley and Kiana James teamed up against Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley. I've got to put down who won was Henley and James. And Henley and James did pick up the victory over the Diamond Mine duo of Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley. Meanwhile, the New Day was having some fun singing Randy Orton's old theme song, Burning My Light. And then Malik Blade and Idris Nofi was talking to the New Day. And then the Dyad comes in. I'll tell you, we'll have a New Day Invitational. Whoever wins the matchup gets the 4th spot in the Fatal 4-Way. So, at Vengeance Day. So far, it's Gallus and Pretty Deadly to challenge the New Day for the NXT Tag Team titles. But there'll be a 4th team in the Fatal 4-Way. A little bit more on that situation, the New Day Invitational. So, Bron Breakker arrives at the PC, not in a good mood. And then Apollo Crews appeared at the Cut Wiz. Apparently, Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams came in, not very happy about it. And then he said, you know what? You won one match. I won one match. Let's hit the rubber match at Vengeance Day. 2 out of 3 falls. Carmelo Hayes accepted the challenge. So be Cruz and Hayes one more time. 2 out of 3 falls at Vengeance Day. The Creed brothers went in a tag match against Drew Gulak and Hank Walker. The Creed brothers regained their confidence as the Creed brothers were old. They won the matchup. But because Charlie Dempsey was appeared at ringside, probably distracting Gulak and Walker. The Creed celebrated victory by talking to Ivy Nile, thanking her for getting them back and setting them straight. And then Indu Sher, which possibly now accompanied by Jinder Mahal, comes out and says, challenge us to a match, accept our challenge. And then and then they held the microphone to Ivy Nile, and she goes, you're on. So next week, the Creed brothers will take on Indu Sher finally. And hopefully, when the titles get separated on the main roster, Indu Sher and the Creed brothers will probably be at the ready to take those titles. I don't want those titles. But then Mackenzie Mitchell interviewed the lovely Gigi Dolan, one of my favorite ladies from NXT. Gigi Dolan said some scathing words about JC Jane. And then Tony D'Angelo and the new underboss, Channing Stacks Lorenzo, were talking at a restaurant and talking about making an impact because I want to take on the biggest, baddest guy in NXT. And you believe you can do it? I know I can do it. And looks like Tony D'Angelo likes the fact, to the Don, no, to the underboss. So it'll be something to see. When, Elektra Lopez talked to Valentina Feroz. Remember what I just said? Yeah, trying to win, win it. And then she goes, watch what I do to Wendy Chu. Elektra Lopez is one of my favorite girls in NXT as well. Wendy Chu went one-on-one with Elektra Lopez. Lopez used brass knucks to knock out Wendy Chu to beat it. While Valentina Feroz is trying to get the referee's attention, saying she has something in her hand, and the referee was distracted with her. So after Valentina Feroz appeared at ringside to do that, Briggs and Jensen talked to Fallon Henley and Jensen said, so listen, you guys did so well. I went to Shawn Michaels' office, he said, and he got Kiana James and Fallon Henley a tag team title shot. So, but Fallon Henley's like, I'm a little overwhelmed by everything. I'll have to think about it. Grayson Waller arrives at the PC in the most ridiculous jacket I've ever seen. A pink fur jacket. I'm with the jacket. I'm starting to laugh. I'm like, what is Grayson Waller trying to do here? How many flamingos did he had to kill to? Oh my gosh. Oh jeez. Somebody. And then Gallus is at the. No, not Gallus yet. Hold up. And then Elektra Lopez talked to Feroz, and Feroz says, I don't like the way you did it. And Wendy's my friend. You can keep your friends. I want to keep on winning. And Mackenzie Mitchell Mackenzie Mitchell was supposed to interview Stevie Turner at the PC, but Stevie Turner was doing her chat thing. And and Stevie Turner was asking a few questions that Mackenzie was going to ask. When are you going to make your debut? And she goes, next week. So, next week will be Stevie Turner's NXT stateside debut. And we've seen her on NXT UK a couple times. And Grayson Waller comes out, runs his mouth, calls out Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker says, you know what? I've had enough of this. Grabs his NXT title and starts coming out to the ring. The locker room security tried to stop Breakker. And then Breakker goes out to Waller, and they started brawling. Everybody tries to keep them separated. Got to the point where outside the ring, Bron Breakker went to go spare a spear Grayson Waller, but he ran through a barricade. I'm like, ouch, that hurt. Then Gallows at the pool was at a pool table talking about becoming tag team champions of NXT. But for right now, it is Gallows, and it is. Gallows is pretty deadly so far. So the NXT Women's Tag Team title was on the line in a handicap match at first. Kaden Carter could have a chance going up against Alba Fire, but then Sol Ruca comes out and goes, hey, I got your back. But it didn't work out well as Carter and Chance did retain the titles. And then Alba Fire was so upset she walked by Ruca. And then also Isla Dawn was there. And she walked by Isla Dawn, but Isla Dawn started to follow behind Fire. But then Fallon Henley and Kiana James went on the balcony to talk about accepting the challenge of Chance and Carter. So Fallon Henley and Kiana James will be at Vengeance Day to challenge Chance and Carter. Meanwhile, Wesley sat down and had a little bit of a meeting talking to Dijak. And Wesley says, I worked hard to get here. And, I'm not going to hand you your title. I'll see you in Charlotte. And then Dijak goes, I'm not here for sob stories. I'm here for justice. I do it for justice. So I don't think it was a sob story. It was a fact truth what Wesley told. Wesley just, I would say, listen, I worked hard to get this championship. You don't understand what I've been through. Guess what? I'm gonna stay at the top. If I want to stay at the top, I'll defend it against you. Get ready to fight me. That's what I would have said. And then Mackenzie Mitchell interviewed Cora Jade about her Lyra Valkyria's interaction with her in the Battle Royal, but then Valkyria hit a black feather in Cora Jade's locker, and she said, "Sorry, I had to cut you off," which Cora Jade was upset. Nikkita Lyons was attacked in the parking lot by whom? An unknown assailant. We don't know who that person who attacked Nikkita Lyons. And then Duke Hudson, came in and said, "Listen, Mr. Chase." Chase demanded why weren't there. So I went to Shawn Michaels' office. They demanded that we be part of the New Day Invitational. Shawn Michaels was talking to the New Day. Duke Hudson talked to the New Day, and they said they gave Chase U a shout out. That they're in. So it's a triple threat match, New Day Invitational next week, as the Dyad from Schism. That will be Jagger Reed and Rip Fowler. The other team, Idris Nofe and Malik Blade. And Chase Hughes, Andre Chase, and Duke Hudson. Whoever wins that match will be the fourth team in Vengeance Day to face Gallows, Pretty Deadly, and the defending NXT Tag Team Champions, The New Day. And then they had the championship summit, and Booker T overseeing it, and Roxanne Perez came out. So Roxanne Perez and Booker T were listening to both JCJ and Gigi Joe and basically hurl insults at each other. Got to the point they were almost coming up. They were about to get blows, but then they started looking at each other and smiling. They attacked Roxanne Perez together, chokeslammed her through a table, and held Roxanne Perez's championship up high above themselves. And that is all the time we have on this show, episode 320 of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. Yes, right. And I'm going to continue on doing the thing that I do best, and that is trying to bring you entertainment content and all, and and stuff like that. I'm sorry, excuse me. So I'll see you later. I'll see you later until the next episode comes around. Mr. Announcer, please take us home. That is all for today's episode of the show. This is Mr. Lima speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E, do it for Bob Saget production, and in association with A Sweet Bowl for Raving Dingleberries Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching another great episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. Until the next episode, goodbye for now.